I will say I am tired of 8 episode shows. Can we go back to the past where shows got like 20 episodes? Of course, there still are shows that get lots of episodes, but nowadays a lot of shows just get 8 episodes per season. Even shows I really enjoyed, like Barry, have that problem. I don't get it. They take a lot of the ideas from the books that I instantly recognized, even though I haven't read the books in quite a few years. So that was really cool, being like, oh yeah, I remember that from the book. They brought a lot of the characters that just couldn't make it into an hour and a half movie, obviously, into the show. So it was really cool. Um, a lot of the characters are black instead of white, which pissed off a lot of fucking degenerates online. But they mainly focused on Annabeth. They just didn't care about the other characters, even though a lot of the characters are black now, which I had no problem with. Actually liked Annabeth better in this than in the Percy Jackson movies because she was just kind of bland, if I'm being honest. She was definitely one of the worst parts of the Percy Jackson movies. It's nothing against the actor, they just didn't do much with her, and they had her have that dumb thing with the ogres or trolls or whatever, which is in the books, but just the way it's portrayed in the movie honestly just feels even stupider. Especially since she's, older. Like in the book, she's fairly young, but since they casted older actors, you think she would know better than to act like that. So, yeah, I was not a big fan of the Sea of Monsters movie. A lot of people now are hating on the movies. Like, I get not liking the second movie, but the first movie was pretty good. Not exactly the most Percy Jackson movie, but it was a good movie. One thing that I do find very frustrating in the show is characters just know shit. Like they show up to the Medusa lair and they're like, "Oh, this is Medusa's lair." And they do that a lot. Like they just immediately know something's wrong, which just leaves no tension. It's just fucking annoying. Edge plays Ares, Edge from WWE and AEW. He plays Ares and he does fine. He doesn't have that much screen time, so there isn't that much to talk about. There's a joke about how, a more modern joke where, he's beefing with people on Twitter and pissing people off. That definitely feels like a very Aries thing to do. Him and Percy get the fight that we didn't get in the first movie, since Ares wasn't even in the movie. But he's in this movie, and he fights Percy, and the fight's kind of lame. It's definitely not the worst fight I've seen, but Edge kicks him. Percy's like, "Oh yeah, I'm a badass," and then uses water, and then he cuts him a few times. I remember it being way more brutal in the book, but then again, it was years ago, and I think the show's just PG instead of PG-13 like the movies. But it definitely could have been cooler. Um, they also have the another character that didn't make it into the movie, Percy Jackson's like cousin or whatever, that sells water beds and shit and, tries to trap his victims. In the book, I'm pretty sure they get trapped on the bed for a little bit and then one of them has to help or something. Or maybe Percy uses his sword. I don't know. But, once again, in the movie, I mean, in the TV show, they're just like, yeah, I know you're a bad guy. And then they put him on the bed and tie him up. In the book, they put him on the bed and chop his fucking head off. But here they just tie him up. They go to the underworld. They go to save his mom. I really liked Ares. Not Ares. I really liked Hades. He was very entertaining. I think both Hades did good jobs in their roles. But I'm gonna have to say I liked Hades more in the show. Um, he was very entertaining. There is one big criticism that I saw on TikTok. I don't know if other people did it, but I'm pretty sure people did. And that is the fact that people hated that Annabeth defended her mom even though she barely knows her mom and she's not around. She's a kid. Kids do that. My dad was in and out of my life, and I always defended him, even though I shouldn't have. And I'm not going to go too much into it because it's a Percy Jackson review. But kids are going to defend people even if they're not around and even if they aren't good people when they're their family. That's just how kids are. So it was accurate. I don't know why people were pissed. Um, so yeah, it's a good start to the show. Wish there was more episodes and hated the whole them always knowing thing. I really hope that's not going to be a thing in the entire series with how many seasons, whatever many seasons this show gets. I really hope that's not a thing because that's just not interesting for characters to always know. Occasionally knowing is fine, but they always know something's wrong. The Lotus Hotel, the Medusa Lair, everything. It's so stupid. I do think every actor in this show was absolutely amazing. Um, Hermes was pretty good. Definitely liked him more than the movies too. Though now that I remember the movies, he was actually the dude from the Rookie show, I think, and he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. So now I know him in 3 different movies. Um, though this is a TV show. Zeus did really good in this show. The actor unfortunately passed away. So I don't know what they're going to do about that. I think he did another one that was better than the movie. He did really good. He really felt like Zeus. Well, meanwhile, in the movie, I don't know. He wasn't bad. Definitely looked more like him with the beard and shit. Um, but Zeus was intimidating in this show, and I fucking loved it. And he had one scene. One scene, and this man was amazing. And, the other Zeus didn't have crazy amount of scenes either. I think he had like 2 scenes, like in the beginning of the movie and near the end of the movie. Grover did really good. Definitely fits his personality from the books more. Though, obviously, Grover from the show, from the movies, is more entertaining. He's just kind of a funny guy. I really liked him. But he definitely fits Grover in the show more. Percy does pretty good. Every character does pretty good. Gabe is dumbed down, which I did not like. He was kind of an asshole. They even say he hit her at one point in the book. Yet in the show, he's just kind of a lazy fuck, and he's able to get pushed by Sally. Like, he tries to demand her to do something, and she's like, "You better fucking ask nicely," basically, and she puts him in his place. But, he still ends up dying, so it's not as satisfying as when it happens in the book or the movie, because he's not a bad guy. He's just kind of a lazy douche. But in the movie and the book, he was a dick, putting his hands on people, threatening Percy. He was awful. But in here, he's just kind of a lazy douche. And he still ends up dying in the very last episode, being turned to stone by Medusa or whatever. Weird. And yeah, that's about it for season 1.